Hey guys, we just finished up week 2 of Stream Team League. We are going into week 3. We saw Metro take the upset win over Team Mags, securing a spot in the finals. Now the question is, are they going to be able to earn that extra advantage of going 3-0 and getting a ram in every division to make it a lot easier for them? Also, we have Espadah versus Team Mags, and someone's not going to make it to the finals. So it's a big week. Andy, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well, Stack. I'm excited for this. I think the first 2 weeks of Stream Team League have met or exceeded our hopes for excitement and hype. We've had the surprises we were looking for. We've had people step up and beat people we didn't think they'd beat. We've had people kind of underperform and that may need to try to claw back and redeem themselves. And going into the last week, like you said, there's a lot to play for. We have a literal playoff win and get in, loser goes home, and then on the other side, like you said, Team Metro is sitting at 2-0 and they're basically in, but they have a lot to play for, trying to get that ram slot on each player. And also on Team Cody Mayer, they have a chance to not get last place, depending on their performance, how many points they get, and then how many points the other teams get in the other match, specifically the loser, if they could possibly jump them in the standings. So I think all 4 teams have a lot to play for, and it's going to be good. Week 3 is going to be very exciting.
Yeah, and we can go ahead and throw all our predictions in the trash because couldn't be more off. Especially last week we had upsets like Chobo versus Miso. I actually was completely off. It was 3-0 in the other way, and it's cool actually seeing an advancement like Stone, for example, played so well last week, and just from having to recuperate from the week before that where he kind of flopped. We're just seeing, like, as you mentioned before, like people not performing well and then the next week shaping up, and then or kicking butt in the first one and then just falling apart the second. What happened to me? So who knows? But that being said, let's actually take a look at our first matchup real quick with GorillaTap versus Disterbia. Speaking of which, GorillaTap miraculously getting 2 games in his last one just with a basic strategy of just punishing Lil Nani's headbutts. Disterbia on the other hand has just been killing it. 6-2 total. So there's not very many winning records in Stream Team Battles players. So this one, maybe I'm a little bit more safer in my prediction in this one and saying that I'll just start right out the bat. I think Disterbia is going to take this one probably 3-0 unless GorillaTap again just has a simple strategy that he could stick to. Disterbia seems to be getting better and better each week.
Yeah, Disterbia is, I think, one of those players that has shown us a lot more than we expected. He's played much cleaner, he's got big damage conversions, but he still has a little bit of a wild streak that I think can put fear into the opponent. I'm thinking along the same lines as you are, though. I have it as 3-1 in favor of Disterbia. The reason I do think GorillaTap will get at least 1 game is because Disterbia is playing much better, but it's still a chaotic style. And I think if you have 2 kind of chaotic styles going against each other, I think you're randomly, like, you're not going to get as consistent of a result. So I think GorillaTap will randomly at least get 1 game. But yeah, Disterbia has shown us so much. I think it's going to be 3-1, and I think it's going to be fairly decisive.
Yeah.
Love you, GorillaTap, but we haven't seen the evolution that we hope to, I think, with his gameplay. And it's not meant to be a diss of any kind. I just think that's how it's turned out, you know, in my trying to be objective analysis.
Yeah.
So yeah, Disterbia decisively, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we want him to win. We're GorillaTap fans for sure, and I was so excited to see him even take games and just him sticking to his game plan, and how irritating it was that he wasn't activating V-Trigger. I don't know what the deal is. I don't think that's in his game plan, because he didn't activate V-Trigger once and he used maybe 1 V-Reversal, and I think if he had used V-Trigger or at least V-Reversal to like stop the pressure, he actually could have taken that one, because I think he was only 1 round away from taking the thing. But that being said, he didn't, and so if he could change that, I think he has more of a chance.
I think so. And you said it was miraculous that he got 2 games. I predicted him to win 3-2. I didn't find it to be that miraculous, but that was more of a gut feeling, and I just thought he could give us more. But yeah, by the data, it was a surprise.
I think I actually gave Nani maybe too much credit, rather than take away from GorillaTap. And Nani really wasn't really doing much, but he did have the anti-airs that he didn't have the week before. So even then, he still showing something new. But he wasn't adapting very well. But this one's going to be interesting. I am looking forward to this one a lot. And I'm also looking forward to this next one here, Chaos Theory versus Step 4. I didn't even remember that Chaos Theory won last week. My heart told me that he lost when I thought back on it, but he won 3-2, didn't he?
He did. He won 3-2, and I think part of the maybe mental bias against him is that he lost to Surmy 3-1 in the first week, which I felt like made him feel like maybe not as strong of a competitor in Stream Team Battle. But he said that he had, kind of his head wasn't all the way in it due to some circumstances, I think, out of his control. Maybe I'm not nothing personal, in a situation. I think that's just what he said. But then he came back and beat Bane, so I thought that was impressive. I think this is going to be an interesting one, though. Like, Step 4 is another player that has shown us a lot and surprised us. I mean, he beat Bane 3-0 first week, which we didn't expect. I mean, I didn't expect based on kind of character matchups and the level. And last week took out Surmy 3-1. I mean, that was really impressive because Surmy was coming in hot. Surmy had a great week 1.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm putting this one as 3-1 Step 4. I think Chaos Theory. I think I might have that same mental bias against Chaos Theory because of that first week performance that you may have also. So maybe I'm not giving him enough credit, but Step 4 is really impressed. I mean, his record, it's hard to argue with. 6-1 overall.
Yeah. And
Chaos Theory is 4-5. So the numbers are hard to argue with, and I feel like Step 4 is really hot. He's played great this season.
Yeah, and we actually forgot to mention before, Disterbia was also in the critical division last time around, and so yes. He's 11-3 total, which is a lot of games for. It's the most games, I think.
I think it is.
Probably.
Yeah. Most players at this point are like 5-4 or 3.
Right. Exactly.
Like that, yeah.
But yeah, I agree. This could even be 3-0 in Step's favor. He's really good. He's probably the best in that division, in my opinion. And in Chaos Theory, as you mentioned before, his energy isn't quite as it was when it started. I think he might be busy with other stuff, but Step 4 has just been telling me how much he's like enthusiastic about it and loving it. So I just think he's only going to get better, and Chaos Theory is going to have to bring something new in order to have a chance here.
Yeah, I think so too. And also factoring in the team coaching aspect, I think Team Metro's vibe, it's my favorite vibe of all the teams, honestly.
Right. They're the most teamy team of all the teams.
Yeah, exactly. And I know you're saying, I'd like somebody to be more honest. Like, oh, no, you screwed up. That was terrible. Then, Patty and Chobo are much more positive. They're always telling each other, stay positive. Even Metro is extremely positive. Personally, that's just my favorite vibe, and I think that gives an edge here.
It's done them well so far. And one of those supreme cheerleaders is actually also our next combatant with Stone versus MissPatriciaa. One of the more interesting ones because this matchup, everything screams kind of in Ken's favor with the V-Trigger 2 and Stone using air fireballs, the V-Trigger fireballs. This is kind of a friendly match. These guys actually are cool with each other. They talk a lot. So it's but they're both also ready to do business too. So that being said, I think, actually, I need a second. What do you think about this?
I think Stone has a slight advantage here.
Really?
I think Patty she hasn't won a set yet, I don't think. She lost to OMPSpartan 3-1, lost to Big Tex 3-2, and that's not bad. I mean, coming back and losing in my opinion, if you lose 3-2, it's almost like could be a tie, depending on how it went. Not all 3-2s are the same.
Yeah.
But I think she showed a lot there, but Stone has a much better record. He's 5-3 overall compared to Patty's 3-6. In common opponents, he beat OMPSpartan 3-0, who Patty lost to 3-0, and also did a little bit. I guess they actually did the same against Big Tex, 3-2 each. So, in my opinion, Stone's just playing a little bit better, and it's shown us a bit more. And maybe it's a little bit of anti-bias because Patty hasn't shown us quite what we thought we'd get out of her. I mean, not off by much.
I know.
And in this format, like little swings will make a big difference to records, so it could easily be attributed to that. But to me, I have it as 3-2 Stone. Close one though.
Yeah, actually, I think the main factor is how Patty always starts off really strong. She always wins the first game and then loses.
Yeah.
She starts to fall apart. I think her mentality is a little, maybe it's inexperience in this sort of, which is funny because she's had so many matches, but you can tell, you can visibly see her game plan starting to like screw up. She stays really tight in the beginning, and I think once it starts to not work, she has no plan B, which is a problem for actually most players. Is they go in there with their plan A. If something doesn't work out, they fall apart, but the plan A is strong at first. Whereas Stone, I think, has a plan, and he's going to stick to it this time around because he saw how well his confidence worked for him last week, taking the 3 over Spartan fast. So I think you're right, but I think Patty's going to hang on in the beginning there. I'm going to think 3-2 Stone. What did you say?
I said 3-2 Stone also.
Okay. That's I think after some thinking about it, that makes sense. Yeah. But here's hope. I mean, maybe Patty will pull off her first win. I mean, losing twice is gonna do something to you, maybe give you the edge in this one. Okay, I'm not losing another set this season.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a little bit of nastiness, a little bit of competitiveness. Not that we don't see a little bit, but yeah, that'd be great to see.
Yeah. Speaking of, this is a wild card for me in this next one. In Division 2, we have Glitter versus Chobokins. I don't know what happened last week. Chobokins, as I mentioned before, she just plays the way she wants to play no matter the circumstance. You're not going to get her on a off day because every day she plays the way that she wants to play. It's not extreme high level, it's not low level, it's just she plays the way she wants to play. Her offense is very strong, and if you can't stop it, you're gonna get ran over like we saw last week.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, Chobo is coming in pretty hot. I still think Glitter has more to offer than what we've seen. I think she's going to come up big. This is kind of a gut prediction, but I'm going Glitter 3-1. I also think the matchup, I don't really know. I'm not an expert on these matchups. It seems like Poison would do better here because she has ability to keep people out, and Honda needs to get in. And it just seems like Poison would be a character that has answers to those kind of situations. And also, Glitter is such an excellent player overall. Plays tons of rank, plays competitively. I think she's going to pull something out for us. So I have it as 3-1. If you have more info on the matchup, though, on the character matchup, I'd be very interested to hear, because I'd like to know if I'm completely off there.
Yeah,
3-1 is what I have.
I actually don't know how well Poison's Crouch Medium Punch handles that butt slam, if at all, or I don't know if it does. I think it depends on how well she can handle that and just a hands pressure. I think it really comes down to more than that, because a lot of Chobo's game plan is just pressure, 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 dash, EX, butt slam, dash, command grab. So it's really how well she can handle that offense. But it's also worth noting that, truthfully, Cody Mayer's team has no chance of making it to the finals. What they could do is make Team Metro's life harder, but they can't necessarily make it to the finals. Is that gonna lower her morale even more? Because her morale stays a little bit on the lower end, especially when things start to not go her way. So if she loses the game, she's just be like, well, it doesn't matter anyway. We're not gonna be able to make it. She has that mentality, unfortunately, and I think Chobo's not gonna be thinking. She's gonna be having the time of her life, pressing Fierce in the hand. So I actually want to put this fundamentally in Glitter's favor, but it's gonna be 3-1 Chobo, because Chobo's just gonna do whatever she wants. I think.
I guess I'm a little bit hopeful in my prediction that Glitter's able to do more, but I think that's very valid.
I want her to take a game. I want her to take a set, but it's hard to vote when Chobo is on such a high right now. She was ecstatic after that one, and I don't think she's going to slow down. Moving on to the last one in the captain division, we got Cody Mayer versus Metro M. So both these guys perished at the hands of Mags. However, Metro beat Espadah convincingly, and Espadah beat Cody Mayer handily, but Cody got 3 games in there. So this is an interesting one. These guys are both strong. Even though Metro's on the winningest team and Cody Mayer's on the losingest team, I actually think this is a pretty even matchup. It's going to go down to the wire. I think it's going to be anywhere. Let's just go with my gut here. It's going to be 5-4. I think Cody Mayer's going to pull through this.
Oh, nice. I like it.
What do you think?
I think I went more with the data on this one, and I have it as 5-3 for Metro.
Okay.
But if Rich has a couple of answers or a couple of, a trick or two in the bag, I think it could easily swing, because they have performed pretty similarly in Stream Team League so far. It's true. Look at the common opponents. Very similar performance. And you even were kind of telling me before this, you feel like they're very evenly matched. So I think maybe the team vibe and morale could help out Metro, but I would love to see Cody Mayer win a set finally. I mean, I guess actually technically so Metro, I was wrong that they performed similarly against the opponents, because Metro beat Espadah, so I was mistaken there.
Right.
So maybe that kind of factored into my prediction, because I had this written out beforehand. So that's kind of my gut feeling, though.
Yeah, I mean, Cody Mayer and Vega, or Cody and Vega, might just fare better for him as well. I mean, he had to play Mags, which is really difficult, and then Luke, which is also not very easy. But maybe he just has a better time in the character matchup. Is kind of what I was thinking. Like, I see Cody, I see Vega. I don't really see Cody having that much of a problem in this matchup, but I mean, I've never played it, so I don't know. But I guess it leaves us to the team predictions overall. So I haven't really kept track of my numbers, but do you have something lined up?
So I have it overall as 14-11 in favor of Team Metro. But if you are putting Cody Mayer as the winner in that match, that could easily make it like a tie or in his favor. So I didn't quite keep track of yours.
I think this is going to be a close one regardless. I really do. I think with the lack of pressure that Cody Mayer's team might have, because they're just like, we're not going to win, so let's just go in there and let's just throw fists and who cares? Well, but also, similarly, Metro's team doesn't really have that much pressure. If they lose, okay, they don't get all the Rams, but they're in the finals no matter what. So I think this is probably going to be our most like just destruction derby of a exhibition, because neither of them have anything to lose other than the Rams. But I think just knowing that, I think they're going to take it easy. I think we're going to see some swinging, and that could sway it more in Cody Mayer's favor, I think. Who knows?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. You could be right that the prospect of the Rams is not the biggest motivator, even though it's a huge advantage.
It actually is a huge advantage, yeah.
It's humongous, but I don't see it being talked about a lot, so I think it's very possible that that's not quite the motivator it should be. So I'd love to see that be the case, and love to see Team Cody Mayer get on the board.
Yep, and then as we know, let's just zip right to the next one on that one. It's going to be the real important one. Whereas this one is not super consequential, this one is insanely consequential. We're moving into Team Mags versus Team Espadah. Both teams 1-1. Someone is done, and who's it going to be? So we're starting off in Division 5 with Gingybert versus Lil Nani. Gingybert 3-3, Lil Nani 5-5. This seems on paper like a very even matchup. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it does seem very even to me. I personally like the conversions and the damage and the overall kind of solid play, patient play of Gingybert. I think he's going to edge this one out, but I think it's going to be very close. I have it as 3-2. Lil Nani is one of the players that I think hasn't done quite what we expected them to do in Stream Team League so far. Not that we knew much going into it, but you have Honda, you have playing at the kind of gold, and I think now Lil Nani's at the platinum level. So playing in Division 5, I'm going to expect Honda to really wreck, and we haven't really seen that. And then Gingybert playing Kareen, I think he's done a great job. I still think the character matchup factors in, and we also saw Gingybert really not do very well at all against Disterbia. And in fact, if you count Critical Division, which isn't quite fair, his record is really bad. I think it's 4-8 overall if you count the 5-1 loss in Critical Division.
Right.
So, you have definitely kind of a mixed performance so far from Gingybert and Lil Nani. Yeah, not really sure. It's been fun to get familiar with Lil Nani and Lil Nani's play. But yeah, I'm favoring Gingybert 3-2. I don't have the best data to go by, but that's my gut feeling.
Yeah, I'm going to have to lean it that way too for actually entirely different reasons. I know that when Mags lost that one, something opened up in his mind like, I'm not going to be able to do this on my own. I think he was relying on him and Miso, and if one of them isn't able to deliver, in this instance it was Miso who dropped the ball. Had she won 3-0 and then Mags won, that would have went a whole different way. But instead, Mags had to carry it for his team, and then it still wasn't enough. And I think that opened his that's not happening again. We can't throw away these early divisions because I didn't take a little extra time to help out. Because I think he'll say that maybe he hasn't given enough time with Gingybert and really gone over like, hey, this is exactly what Lil Nani does. I got you right here. So I think we're going to see an upgraded team, and I think Gingybert could even take his 3-0 because of that.
I would love to see that, because I think coaching would factor in a lot on that. Because we saw last week with Lil Nani against GorillaTap, first two games, Lil Nani was headbutting like there was no tomorrow, and GorillaTap was punishing it every time with the sweep. And then Lil Nani switched to using a lot of hands and not as much headbutt, and GorillaTap wasn't able to adjust.
Yep.
If Mag and Miso are both extremely knowledgeable on the game, if they can coach Gingybert to being able to deal with hands a little bit, I think it could be 3-0.
Right. It probably just comes down to a V reversal too. But yeah, that is a deciding factor. It was Espadah, or at least someone on his team, that said, hey, knock off the headbutts, dude. He's just punishing you like crazy.
And we were saying it too in the stream.
Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. It comes down to the coaches a lot. They play more of a role than... It's taken a long time for that to develop, to the fact that coaches, how much they are valuable and how much do they know how valuable their input is, even something simple as in just V reversal every time he does this or something like that.
Oh yeah, so, especially if it's something simple they can implement right now. Like V reversal that.
Exactly, for sure. Let's move on to the next one with Surmy versus Bane in Division 4. Surmy at 4-4. Bane at 2-6. Bane, as you might have mentioned about Lil Nani, not quite living up to what we thought. I think that's it, primarily because they came into this league a little higher rank than they were supposed to be because they got recruited at a particular rank, and then Bane moved up to Super Plat. Nani moved up to Plat, which is like 2 divisions or 2 ranks higher. So I think that initial thought was like, oh, what are these guys doing? These guys are going double overtime, but the results really don't show that at the moment.
Yeah, they don't. Bane definitely, I thought because of the character he plays and playing at that level and Gil stuff being so hard to deal with, I expected a lot more out of Bane. And then maybe that's unfair, you know, because your character is not everything. You know, Street Fighter V is a decently balanced game. So maybe I shouldn't have gone into that prediction with that kind of mentality. Yeah, Bane sitting at 2-6 overall. Surmy's done better. He had that great first week against Chaos Theory. Granted, Chaos Theory said his head wasn't quite in it, but still beating him 3-1. He was coming in really hot off of that. He lost 3-1 to Step 4, but Step 4 has had a great Stream Team League. He is really impressed. So to me, that's not that bad. Because of those factors, when you put it all together and shake it up and see what pours out, I have it as Surmy 3-2. I think it'll be kind of close though, and it could even swing the other way. But if I have to pick, I'm thinking 3-2 Surmy.
Okay, I got Surmy winning as well, but I think it might even be a little bit more decisive actually. But let's take that back because I said Mags is really gonna buckle down and all right, enough of this screwing around. I can't rely on just me to take care of everything. Let's settle this. I think Espadah is on the same page though. Like, we don't want to lose. We are 1 game away from going into the finals, getting a run back against Metro. So like, do we really want to give this up? So I think they're both gonna knuckle down. So it really, and Espadah's, you know, a coach on the side. I think he does it for, you know, for Metafy or Metafy, however you pronounce that.
Yeah.
So, but Mags has a lot of knowledge, obviously. So does Miso, as you mentioned. So interesting. I'll go through 3-2 Surmy as well, but I think we're gonna see that really get locked down, like a lot more coaching, a lot more go back to the battle lounge and let's like reevaluate this.
Yeah, I would like to see that just because I love the coaching aspect of Stream Team League.
Oh yeah, not to mention wait, what is going on here? Not to mention, as opposed to the previous exhibition, this one has everything on the line, so they're going to play like that. Whereas the first one, I mentioned they're just going to slug it out because who cares, whatever. This one should be totally different. We are now going to move on to Division 3 between Big Tex versus OMPSpartan. As far as I know, I could be wrong. I think Big Tex is probably the strongest Division 3 player right now. Actually, well, I think Stone took that over.
Stone's good as well, and although Big Tex did beat Stone.
Right, maybe that's what was the deciding factor for me. I think Tex is overall, he's won 2 of his sets, while Stone has only won 1, but he won it so convincingly that it kind of evened out the score a little bit. But Tex always clutches it out, whereas Spartan is, he has a losing record of 3-4, which isn't so far off, but how has he won? Oh yeah, he won against Patty.
He beat Patty 3-1, yes.
And lost to Stone. So we come in here in a neutral state, 1-1. How is this gonna go?
I like Big Tex here. I think he's played well. He's had a great Stream Team League, and I just see kind of hot versus not, who's doing well, who hasn't done quite as well. OMPSpartan hasn't done poorly. Beating Patty is pretty good. Patty's a good player. But yeah, Big Tex keeps coming up with the answers. So I'm going Big Tex. I have it 3-1.
Yeah, another thing I noticed was that OMPSpartan was a little reliant on his V-trigger in neutral, and when he wasn't getting anything out of it, I think that's when Stone really started to just play his route, whereas Big Tex similarly has that going on, where a lot of his momentum comes from his V-trigger, but Urian's is strong and he knows how to place it well. So that might be the deciding factor. I think we're gonna see trigger against trigger, and Texas is gonna clutch it out, I think.
Yeah, Aegis is a beast, and Kage, low HP character, all those things factor in.
Right. So now we're getting into some interesting stuff here. So Miso versus That Masher, Division 2. Miso coming off of a super hard loss. She sounds confident that that's not going to happen again. That Masher though, 6-2, doing really well, doing surprisingly well because he has a game plan, as we saw, that's very risk oriented, jumping dive bombs that are like minus 5 billion, parry heavy, but everything's working out. Like he'll just hold back parry and then parry something and then win, dash SPDs or command grabs. I don't see how that will work against Miso, but I didn't see Chobo's plan working against Miso either. So that being said, I really do think Miso's like, that's not happening again. I'm gonna crush this guy. I have it 3-1 for Miso.
I also have it 3-1, and for mostly the same reason. It's hard to imagine Miso kind of laying an egg like she did against Chobo. I just don't see it. She's an excellent player. She's so knowledgeable. Also, I think the character matchup would favor Zeku. I just know Alex is not that good of a character, and I feel like his tools are something that if you know the game really well, you can deal with. But Chobo couldn't deal with it, and also neither could Glitter. So it's really hard to, going on the data. I guess we should think that Masher, has a better chance. But yeah, I just cannot get away from how good I perceive Miso to be and how good she really is. And like you said, I think a refusal to let that same kind of thing happen. I totally agree. 3-1.
There probably is a little bit of bias there, seeing as there was less pressure going on than there will be this time, and she totally that was pure psychological crumbling. We talked about it. She said that she knew that the V trigger doesn't work on the EX, and she did it anyway out of pure, this should work. That adds up in my head. So the pressure alone was pretty much there, and I actually rewatched it. She was winning soundly in the beginning and just kept dropping weird things. Like she would do light into slide and then not get anything and then get back thrown on accident. So many things went in Chobo's favor. It was staggering. It would crush anyone, really. But that being said, that's no real excuse. You have to be able to get it back, get your momentum back, and be like, okay, that was just a mistake. But she started to fall apart real fast. And I think I've even maybe seen that before in her. So I think she really needs to prep for this one. I don't know how much she's prepping for matchups, but I think if she goes in here, does her homework, she'll win handily. If not, the same thing might happen where she's beating him, makes a mistake, and then Masher just boom clotheslines her, and all of a sudden she can never regain it. So despite that. The case.
Also, I wonder if they're down a point or two when Miso's up. Maybe that's a lot of pressure, and maybe that hurts her performance. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Which boils down to the last one. In my head, this is actually going to be already a close exhibition, but that's not good for Team Espadah, as it's Mags versus Espadah, and Mags is 10-1 right now. He's only lost one game, and it was barely. So, actually, Espadah, in my opinion, has the best chance of winning more than one game. Just the character's strong, he's strong. The Metro thing was actually surprising, as he said he went into the Vega matchup very ready for Vega, and look what happened. Maybe he was not as ready as he thought, but he said the same thing about this one, and I asked him, like, how are you feeling about Birdie? He's like, I'm ready to go. He's like, there's only so much you could do about Mags on this amount of time, but what do you think?
So I think Espadah will get a couple of games. And we've seen things he's done in the past in other exhibitions and here on Stream Team Battle. He did really well against Cody Mayer prior, so he's had some success here. I still see it as Mag winning. I'm sure everybody does. I see it as 5-3. I think Espadah is going to get a few games because he does have that knowledge and he has that preparation and that competitive aspect. And Luke is so strong, so not too different than what you said. 5-3 for me.
Yeah, it's worth noting that it could come down to this set. It could be somewhere like 7-8. Or whatever the score might be. It could come down to the point where whoever wins this set wins the exhibition, and that's just how it's going to be. That's a lot of pressure because these guys have been playing these last 3 weeks to get to this finals, and it comes down to that. And not only is your prize on the line, your whole team's prize is on the line. And you've been delivering as Mags. You've been delivering this whole time. It's almost like you do so well that if you come up short, it's like extra pressure because you need to do it one more time and you couldn't do it, and you have that thought in your head. Whereas Espadah, the pressure's still there of course wanting to win the exhibition, but I think he knows he's the underdog in this one and knows he has to go and fight as hard as he can and to beat Mags, or even take enough games to possibly edge out the exhibition. for example, like last week where Metro only needed to take one game.
Yep.
So he didn't need to beat Mags. He just needed to take one game. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to do it. But Mags did show how clutch he is in persevering there. So I agree. It's going to be 5-2, 5-3 in favor of Mags. And it's just how much of a lead can Espadah get? Will it be enough? It would be so clutch if, you know, Espadah needed 3 games and got the 3 games, whereas Mags won, but they still needed a point or something like that. It could come down to something like that.
Yeah, very well could. I mean, I have it on my predictions as Gingybert winning 3-2. I mean, ones that could go a lot differently than prediction. I think Lil Nani could beat Gingybert. You know, there's always that potential, I think, for someone like Gingybert, you know, at that level to get overwhelmed by the Honda stuff. And then Miso against that Masher, maybe their prior records hold up and that Masher wins 3-1, 3-0. If that's the situation, Espadah could be going into Division 1 with a lead. That'd be a lot of pressure, but if he knows that he has to, you know, only get a couple of games, that's going to be a ton of pressure on Mag. I mean, who thought that Team Mag could be in this position? I did not expect this at all, you know. So, and he probably didn't either. So I think that could be a high pressure situation for him too. So man, it's going to be exciting.
Well, it did come down to the critical division, and unfortunately, Mag has got the worst possible outcome with going into Division 5. It would have been interesting to have it go back to Division 2 and see if Miso can like something click in her head, or back to Division 1, or really any division. Really, than Division 5 would have been okay, doable. Yeah. So he got the worst possible outcome, and that's what happens. That's why it's so important to have your whole team as a unit and make sure that everyone's ready to go, because it could just fall right on the worst possible outcome. But this next week, guys, 6 p.m. Central, twitch.tv/StackBradford. You're not going to want to miss it. If you already missed the other two, we're going to have the highlights up on youtube.com/StackBradford. Team Cody Mayer versus Team Metro. Will Team Metro be able to get in there with all the Rams and have a huge advantage over who they face? And Team Mags versus Team Espadah, someone's going home. And can Espadah pull the biggest upset ever, or is Team Mags gonna finally get it together, understand what the weaknesses were in their game plan, and persevere? And we're gonna see the run back, the more likely run back between Team Metro and Team Mags.
Absolutely. Tense situations, big drama. You guys don't want to miss it.
That's going to be it for us, guys. 6 p.m. March 21st, this coming up Monday. Doubleheader. You don't want to miss this. We will see you guys there.